Matt Blackledge joins us to discuss.
And just how dominant has Alabama been this season? SEC Network analyst Tim Tebow joins us on set to compare them to past Bama teams. Stay tuned. Show starts now.
Woo!
The weekend's full of surprises, from big upsets to rivalry.
Paul.
Finebaum show, Paul's on the roll. If he don't get the best of me, Paul.
Can I get an amen from you?
He'll make sense of it all.
Hey, at least we're rational.
Yeah, Paul.
Please don't tell my wife what's going on here in the afternoon. Inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Look who's on the big board there. I don't see Laura's name. Blue Girl. Anyway, welcome to the weekend. Maybe a little early, but we are here in Tuscaloosa where the Crimson Tide are only 36-point favorites over their big, long-standing rival, the University of Tennessee. Laura Rutledge here.
Hey, if I'm woo girl, then you're woo boy.
I saw the Backstreet Boys the other day. We could meet a new girl boy band.
Well, we'll work on that, but we'll also save everybody from that type of misery. What did you say, 35-point favorites? Or 36-point favorites?
It could be up to 36. In this,
Wow.
Laura, before you were even born, this was the biggest rivalry in the SEC. It is no more.
You know, I've talked to some Alabama fans, though, that still feel like this is a big rivalry. They still have a lot of want to beat Tennessee. It's important to them. But it's interesting because I don't know. Oh, I think Big Al is more interested in what we're doing. But it's not a real rivalry right now, Paul. I mean, come on.
I mean, this is a generational rivalry. If you are 50, 60, and over, don't look at me. It is important. I went to school at Tennessee. It was the biggest game of the year. You lived and died for it. But for young people, this game means very little because Alabama has literally owned Tennessee for as long as most can remember.
I do think for young Tennessee fans, and we've heard from some of them this week, it means a lot to them from the standpoint of they want to see something different. They want to see a change. However that is manifested, they want to feel like they have a chance against this team.
I talked to some Tennessee fans earlier today. They do want to see a change. They want to see Butch Jones no longer as the head coach at Tennessee. But that's not the big story in college football this weekend. The big story is in Happy Valley. Game day is there. The biggest game of the weekend is there. A whiteout tomorrow night. This one's pretty good.
Yeah, Paul, this is a chance, I think, for Jim Harbaugh to change the complexion of his season so far. And everyone talks about him not being able to beat rivals. Well, here you go. I mean, it's not Ohio State, but it is Penn State. This is a gauntlet of a schedule for Michigan. You see how this ranks in the Big Ten. Michigan's defense versus Penn State's offense. This is a matchup that means a lot because you know how good Michigan's defense is. This could also be a chance for Saquon Barkley to have a true Heisman moment to continue to make his case for that trophy. Here's James Franklin Wired.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Mark Wahlberg, the actor? Yeah. This is him. Yeah. Yeah, he was like a little boy band in the 90s. You know you like it. You know you like it. You know Mark Wahlberg, the actor? You know this is him. Yeah, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. 90s boy band. It's one of those things you do early and you think it's cool and then you look back in life. I saw this dude in concert. Boys to Men, Montel Jordan at the Camden Waterfront. 1988 or 91 or something like that. Box fade. Some what do I go, acid wash jeans with a matching jean jacket. Cole, this is some West Coast stuff for you. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Get moving, Cabinda. Let's go, Chavis. Get your ass moving. Get moving, Gonzalez. Give me some, brother. Give me some.
And if you thought that was wired, how about this? Marty Smith joining us from Happy Valley. Marty, a shout out to you there. How's everything going?
Brother, how we doing? Laura, how we doing? Now, wait a minute.
What's up?
When you guys first came on the air, I heard Paul say, I just saw the Backstreet Boys. And, Laura, you skimmed right over that like it didn't even happen. We got to back up to that.
Because
Finebaum, did you go to a Backstreet Boys concert, bro?
Well, I was actually at the CMT Entertainer of the Year Awards, and they played a Florida-Georgia line song.
yeah, Paul is a big deal.
I actually
Marty.
watched
I don't
that
know
on
if you
television. I didn't realize that you had the invite, man.
Well,
He's a big deal, kind of. At least they tell him so. But, Paul actually has written a country music song. Or would you say it's country?
well, it is country, and I'm going to write a heartbreaking song, too, after having worked with you these last 8 weeks. Marty, what's going on up there? Is
What's
there a big
it
game
called?
or not?
What's it? No, wait.
Oh, okay,
wait.
sorry.
We're talking about this country song. What's it called?
Yeah, what is it called?
Marty, I'll send it to you. It's really it was autobiographical.
It's great. It really is
I
good.
think it's great.
I really enjoyed it.
I'm surprised it hasn't hit the.
I enjoyed it when you serenaded me with your guitar while singing
I'll
it.
send it to you, Marty, and you'll love it. But because they're telling me we need to talk about the Penn State game versus my country music singing career, tell us about it.
It's overrated, man. Happy Valley is amazing. This is the first time I've ever had the opportunity to come here. We've been with the team all day long, spoken with several players, attended practice for a bit yesterday, and this is a very focused, mature football team. And as you can see, Coach Franklin's certainly loose, his players taking that lead. And was it a bug? Wiley just knocked a bug off my collar.
Jonathan Wiley.
He's doing it. At least somebody's
Can
doing
we
their job around here.
Yeah, pass the mic off to Wiley. I mean, what is he doing over there?
You should see him. He's holding this board. Show this real quick. He's holding this board, this game day sign, so that the light bounces from the sun onto my face. Do you like Bieber? Paul does. He
The
attends
Backstreet Boys to Bieber.
Yeah. We're doing all the hits today.
All right, back to ball just a minute. One of the more interesting things about this team, in my opinion, here at Penn State is the resurgence. Why? Why have they been able to have this resurgence here? I talked to Deshaun Hamilton, their wide receiver, earlier today, who, by the way, just broke the all-time receptions record here last week with, I think, 181 catches. And I asked him, what was there's that B again, what was it that
You must be
enabled you
sweet,
guys
Marty.
to enjoy that resurgence? And he said, I'm very sweet, Laura. He said, look, it was guys in my class. It was our class. We stuck it out when it was difficult to be here, when it was difficult to even dream that we could be in this position as a football program. And now here they are, second ranked in the country, about to welcome Coach Harbaugh and the boys into Happy Valley tomorrow evening. I've never experienced this whiteout. I cannot wait to see what it looks like and what it sounds like, because I'm told it's going to be one of my favorite places after tomorrow night.
I'm ready to award you the Heisman Trophy for fighting through this bee that obviously wants a piece of you. But when you think about the real contenders there, Saquon Barkley, what kind of statement can he make in this game, Marty?
A huge statement, certainly. And everybody looks at him right now. Maybe not everybody. Most people, it seems at this point, look at Saquon Barkley as the best player in college football. And when you talk to people that really know, they're floored by his balance. They're floored by his vision, his ability to receive the football, to catch the football. And he's going to face the best defense in the country here tomorrow night. Look what Coach Brown has done at Michigan with that group. They are elite. And it will be so fun to watch the chess match. One thing that some people may not realize about this matchup is that Don Brown, Michigan's defensive coordinator, and James Franklin, Penn State's head coach, were the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator at Maryland together under Ralph Regent. So they know each other really well. They used to go against each other in practice every day. So this is going to be strap up your helmet. It's going to be a slobber knocker fest. And I can't wait to be on the sideline watching every play, baby.
Marty, for those of you who have followed your career on ESPN, it's well known that you've milked a few segments, including this one. But until today, I've never heard of you milking a cow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, hey, you got to go in the trenches, Paul Finebaum. This ain't a free ride around here. Creamery. The
Be
Penn
careful when you do that.
is the oldest and, from what I'm told, the most famous creamery in this country, on campus anyway. All right, it's 150 plus years old. They have ice cream college here every year. Haagen-Dazs shows up, Ben & Jerry's shows up, and they learn the latest technology and the latest intricacies of making delectable, delicious ice cream. So this morning I started in the creamery. I had a hairnet and a beard net. Did you know they made a beard net? I did
No,
not know.
I did
You
not.
can't be
There was
getting
a
milk in the
net,
beard.
But there is a beard net. I had on gloves, like surgical grade gloves. I had on booties. And we looked
You
at
had
the
on what?
ice cream making process. They were bottling lemonade this morning. Now, obviously, that ice cream has to come from somewhere. There's a farm right outside of Beaver Stadium here, a dairy farm, 450 head of cattle, 220 of which get milked every day. So I had to go over there and check that out myself, and my man Travis, who runs that joint, showed me how to milk those cattle. It was an interesting moment, and I would say likely unprecedented on Sports Center television. There's a certain way, there's a form, like there's great throwing form. You got to have the ball up here high, throw a good pass, and open the door, close the door, all those things. Well, there's a top-to-bottom form when you're milking the cow, Paul Finebaum. That is, Jonathan's laughing his tail off over here, by the way. He's trying not to hear y'all, trying for y'all not
Well,
to
just
hear
for the
y'all.
record, we are laughing our tail off, too.
There is a certain form in the way that you milk the cow, and apparently I have mastered it.
You were a great cow milker.
Well, Marty, I have milked one cow, and you have to be careful because if you don't do it right, you'll get your head kicked out. But I'm struggling to come up with a legitimate question after the dairy farm whisperer there.
Yeah,
I can understand that. I
I'm
can understand
confused, Marty, because I didn't see you getting a whole lot of milk out of that
No.
thing. I mean, it looked like
A
just a
milkless
sip
cow.
of milk.
Stage fright. The cow had stage fright, Laura. I can't help that. If we're going to have a great moment, everybody's got to step up with their A game. I can't help the cow's issues.
Okay. Marty, they're telling us
My form was impeccable.
they're telling us this segment cannot go on any longer.
We wish it could, though. Truly,
Why
we
not?
do.
Well,
You're telling me that Tim Tebow breaking down Alabama is going to be better than that. Good luck,
No,
Timmy.
probably not.
Now, Tim Tebow milking a cow would be a national event.
Let's ask him if he's ever done that before.
That would break the internet. If Tim Tebow milked that cow with those tight pants of his and that nice haircut,
Oh,
it'd
my
break
goodness.
the internet, y'all.
Yeah, I think you just did. Marty Smith joining us live from a very happy valley
Thanks,
in
Marty.
Pennsylvania.
Happy
Thanks,
Valley,
Marty.
baby!
Laura, I forgot, who is Penn State playing again?
Yeah, they're playing Michigan, Paul, and your guy, Jim Harbaugh. I'm interested. What do you think happens in this game?
I think Penn State wins, and I think it's really, in some ways, more critical for Penn State because I still think they're in contention for the national championship. And Laura, you have Ohio State next week. But the flip side of that is for Harbaugh, a loss here has put him at a point of no return. That's 2 conference losses. He's effectively done, and that is still with Ohio State left to play.
It seems like there are people out there, I'm not saying this is us, that just think that somehow Ohio State's going to end up factoring back into the playoff. I know. That's why I'm saying this.
Thank you.
I know all of your thoughts, okay? And so
that makes me unhappy.
But are people overlooking Penn State? Because they're
No.
still a team that has the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, and right now they look to be in a driver's seat.
I don't think they're overlooking it, but I think people are waiting. Penn State's a big favorite tomorrow night, and I think with a win, everyone can exhale, and then all the energy goes to Columbus next weekend. And I think at that point, Penn State is going to have to roll the dice. Last year, as everyone remembers, Penn State beat Ohio State.
Right.
At State.
And then still didn't make the playoff.
No, and that still lives with them.
It does. It was a dilemma.
So Butch Jones has not arrived in Tuscaloosa yet. They'll probably fly to Birmingham. I don't think he'll move over here until tomorrow. But the pressure is intensifying. It really occurred 2 weeks ago after that 41-0 disaster against Georgia, and then a loss to South Carolina last Saturday. This is his record, 14-21. This is his 5th year, and he can lay all these cliches on as he often does, but it doesn't wipe away that record. Butch Jones.
Yeah, and, Paul, when you think about Butch Jones and what he's done, he had always said, give me some time because I need to get my guys in. I need to get this team where I want it to be, and he has recruited well. And I think that's led to more frustration for Tennessee fans because they've seen themselves year after year in the top 10, even sometimes the top 5 in the college football recruiting rankings, and then yet it doesn't always translate to the field the way they think it should.
Well, Laura, it's one thing to recruit well. It's another thing to actually develop the talent that you get, and he has failed involved in that. And I frankly think after 5 years, you have to prove yourself. You have to have proven yourself by now. He hasn't done it. And I think tomorrow is the line of demarcation. There was some thought that Butch Jones could be replaced after last week. My sense is that the administration said, why would we send an interim coach into this football stadium to get slaughtered by Nick Saban? Let Butch Jones do that. And then after the game, we can tell him, if you'd like to fly back with us on the charter, you may, but you will not be coaching the next game.
See, I think if Tennessee hadn't made a change by this point, there's no reason for them to make a change following this Alabama game, because what's going to change about their season? If they lose to Alabama, which is expected, then, they're already out of the East conversation. They lost to South Carolina. They lost to Florida. They lost to Georgia. What's the point of making a change in season other than the recruiting side?
Well, I think you're fundamentally correct. It's not going to. The season's over with a loss tomorrow. But I think what I believe the administrators are thinking there is we have a bunch of young guys on this team. Give them a chance to play for something without the burden and all the rumors and all the speculation about the head coach. And you will not be able to contact a major coach until the end of the year anyway. But from a recruiting standpoint, at least you stop this. And I don't think Butch Jones, because he is such a lame duck, is going to be able to effectively recruit anyway.
By the way, I've been seeing this floating around on Twitter. It has no authority or any type of credibility, but it's exactly, hashtag Twitter. But it's a photo of Gruden, and it says, "Welcome Tennessee's new head coach." Is there any realistic chance that happens?
Well, a couple of facts. John Gruden has a son at UT right now. His wife was a cheerleader there. He went to a game last week. Other than that, I'm having a hard time coming up with that. Although it is a fact that 5 years ago there was a group of Tennessee alums who pushed for John Gruden, and it couldn't get past the administration. I don't think it's going to happen. I know a lot of people at Tennessee want it to happen. John Gruden works right now at ESPN, making a lot of money doing Monday Night Football. Although he has a yearning desire to coach. It's just a matter of whether he would work at Tennessee. He's the biggest name out there, though.
It is a big-name program, too.
It is.
It has not lost that luster, in my opinion, being an attractive place to go and coach.
Well, that conversation will be tabled until tomorrow, and we'll see whether Tennessee makes a move or not after the Alabama game. Plenty more to come, though. We'll dive into the numbers behind Sam Darnold's season so far. It may not be as bad as most people think.
The Paul Finebaum Show is brought to you by Aleve PM. Aleve PM for a better AM.
Experience the Lexus RX with advanced safety. Standard.
Lease the 2017 RX 350 for $399 a month for 30.
So you.
The Finebaum Show live at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
You wish.
My bucket list has been completed. Welcome back on this day before the 8th weekend of the college football season.
Well, it is week 8, Paul, and that means it's time to really find out if Sam Darnold is for real. I'm kind of laughing saying that because Sam Darnold is for real, okay? A lot of people haven't been giving him a lot of credit, but this is a huge test against Notre Dame, and this really factors into the college football playoff conversation. Sam Darnold, a big part of USC's success, and when they're not successful, he's a big part of it as well. But still, a lot of NFL scouts expect him to be the first quarterback taken, and you see how he's improved so far this season. Maybe this could be a sign his passing is coming into form. Brad Edwards crunches the numbers.
Throw down the middle and picked off. The second pick of the evening thrown by Darnold.
You watch the decision-making that he has right now, it's awful.
And Darnold fumbles the football.
The season hasn't gone the way it was supposed to for Sam Darnold. He has an FBS worst 14 turnovers, and his total QBR has regressed from 3rd last year to 30th this year. But there are signs of improvement.
Darnold throwing down the left side, looking for Mitchell, right in the front basket, makes the catch.
Among Power 5 QBs, Darnold has the 3rd most pass attempts, more than 15 yards downfield and outside the hash marks. In September, his QBR on these throws was 19 on a 0 to 100 scale. Over the last 2 games, it's been 94.
Back end zone caught. It's a touchdown to Stephen Mitchell.
What a catch by Tyler Vaughn.
Caught touchdown Deontay Burnett.
And his pass distribution to wideouts has also improved. In the first month, opponents knew Deontay Burnett was usually getting the ball. But in October, Darnold has been anything but predictable.
Fires in the end zone. Burnett caught it. Touchdown.
Looks so much more comfortable, throwing with better mechanics, trusting his line, and Darnold did a heck of a job.
For him to put together those passes, huge.
Make no mistake, there's plenty more room for improvement. But for Darnold to get back to where he was last season, these are steps in the right direction.
Paul, who knew that Notre Dame was going to be a true factor in the college football playoff? No one saw that coming, I don't think.
No, I don't think anyone did, and I don't want to be Pauly negative here.
Come on, Pauly negative.
As opposed to positive.
Supposed to be positive.
But I think tomorrow is the crucible for them, because with a win, they still have a very difficult season to negotiate, but their season could fall apart too, because they have a very difficult game, especially tomorrow. Even though there's almost this feeling around the country that this is a done deal. It's not. Sam Darnold is not playing nearly as badly as it looks. I talked to Mel Kiper yesterday, and he said the problem has been his offensive line production, and he has receivers missing balls. Now, again, that all comes into it, and I think Sam Darnold has tried to do too much, and he's pressing.
Yeah, but if you ask great quarterbacks, they'll say, you take that on your shoulders. If your O-line isn't performing as well as they should be, you take ownership of that. You figure out a way to throw the ball better to the receivers. And I'm saying all that because that's what a really good quarterback would say. I still think that Sam Darnold, people forget how young he is.
Exactly.
You know, he's not some veteran, grizzled guy who's a senior, been around forever. He's just not.
No.
He has not had that type of experience, and this year has been a true test. Also, he has a target on his back. People want to beat him. They want to contain him. They want to sack him. D-lines, defenses in general, step up for somebody like Sam Darnold. But this is a chance for him to, I think, change a lot of the narrative about him against a Notre Dame team that, frankly, USC could be a spoiler for.
And I think, Laura, Sam Darnold, who did not handle all the attention, is now sitting there burning with motivation, knowing that this is the biggest stage of the football season. I expect him to play well. Now, I said that a couple weeks ago at Washington State. Didn't happen. But I think he is due to show why almost every person in the business thinks he's the number one quarterback coming out.
It felt like coming into this season, the talk about Sam Darnold was all that he steps up for those huge moments and that's where he thrives. And I don't know that we have truly seen that yet this season, but this could be one of those big moments where he really shows what he's all about. Okay, we've said, both of us have said, that the Pac-12 could be done after what happened last week. Is USC the Pac-12's best chance if they're going to factor into the college football playoff?
I frankly think USC is the Pac-12's only chance. I think Washington blew it last week. You just can't let a game like that go, especially when you have the resume that they have, which is terrible, and the past. And I know that the committee is going to say, well, we only look at what's in front of us. But they hear the noise, and the noise now is that Washington probably shouldn't have been in last year. Penn State should have, and I think that will haunt them. And Washington State, I don't think it's going to be a factor the rest of the way. They still have to deal with Washington. So this is it. It's SC or bust tomorrow night, and I think SC, with a loss, we can just move the Pac-12 off our board.
How different that playoff would have been if Penn State had been in there.
Well, yeah, you say that. I think they would have provided better games because, as you remember, last year the two semifinal games were unwatchable.
Jokes, yeah.
Anyway.
Right.
Meanwhile, coming up next, we will talk to someone who knows a little bit about big games. He's won the Heisman in the biggest game ever against Ohio State. Desmond Howard, live, next.
When is it?
The Finebaum Show starts in mere moments over there on the SEC Network, 3 to 7 Eastern. Stick around.
It'll be a blast.
Look at this, Laura.
Oh, my goodness. Meanwhile, back in Knoxville, somebody got that from the Food Lion? Oh, there's another one. Guys.
The old $6.99.
Wow, so the Food Lion is actually making, this is the Food Lion making these things. They're not requested to have them made.
Meanwhile, I knew little Nikki loved the powered tea. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this rivalry has seen better days.
Paul, you are in that person's Twitter avatar photo.
Am I really?
Yeah, like that was you and that person in there.
Big time.
So, Tim, before you go, unless you have something you want to
No, I was going to ask what you're going to ask, so go ahead.
Let's both ask it. Same time, 1, 2, 3.
What do you think about Bama?
Tim Tebow almost went to Alabama. True or false?
Yeah.
It is true.
But you didn't go here because people call you Tim.
Oh, Tim. Roll Tide, Tim.
Tim.
They add a lot of E's to Tim.
I know this is something you probably didn't do. I read Tim's books.
I have read it. Very good.
In your books, you actually tried to call Urban to say I wasn't coming to Florida and I was going to Alabama, and you couldn't get a hold of him.
Well, that's not exactly the case. But, yes, Alabama.
I read the clip notes.
I was very close to going to Bama. I almost went to Bama, and they were leading for from my sophomore year on, and then this guy named Urban Meyer got signed at Florida, and he kind of changed the deal.
You did call Urban, and then did you have regrets after you committed? I thought I read that.
I wasn't at peace with it, yeah. Because I was, for me, it felt like I let so many people down, because I love the passion.
But then you made a big mistake. You could have come to Alabama, won a Heisman Trophy, maybe 2 national championships.
Yeah, he didn't do any of that, right? Okay, but Tim, when you think about this Alabama team and their dominance, how would you compare it to other Alabama teams that you've seen?
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Maybe more dominant than other Alabama teams. I think we really got to wait on that, because let's really see how they go down the stretch, because also the West, the SEC West, isn't as strong as it's been the last few years, but they have been destroying people, not playing with people, not competing, but destroying people. It's a different level, top to bottom Alabama team. I think that's also because a couple of the leaders, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Jalen Hurts, who I just left a moment ago, they're determined not just to win this season, but to absolutely demolish people and win a championship.
What is the biggest difference between the team we saw in the championship game and the team we'll see tomorrow?
I think it's depth. I think it's Jalen Hurts has one more year of experience. And I also don't think they played anybody to Clemson's caliber. And I don't think they will until they face a Georgia team, possibly in the SEC championship.
So Georgia, to you right now in the country, is the second best team?
To me, Georgia is not necessarily the second best team, because football is all about matchups. But I think Georgia matches up against Alabama probably better than anybody else, because of Kirby Smart, the way they play defense, stop the run in their front seven.
It's hard to say any other team would be the second best. If you had to pick another team, though, that's up there for you?
Ohio State is improving, but obviously they're not going to be 2 because of their loss, but they're improving. I think Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield could give Alabama some scares, because his intangibles and the way he can move in the pocket and create. I don't think a TCU matches up well against an Alabama. I don't think a Penn State matches up well against Alabama.
Tim, thanks so much. We are done for today. We'll do it again on Monday, or come on over to the network and watch us for the next 10 hours.